Hello everyone, this is Moehawkman here, and today I'm just going to explain my thought process behind challenging myself to kill 10,000 chickens and see what loot I get. Now surprisingly, chickens are actually quite profitable because I made around 550 to 600k depending on how fast I got the kills. And for those of you who don't know, RNG plays a major role when it comes to chickens because they can drop between 0 and 20 feathers per kill. Although 20 doesn't happen very often and 0 doesn't happen that often, but it still can. So I was averaging around 10 feathers per kill just based on those numbers alone. And kill wise, I was averaging, in the beginning, I was doing around 800 kills per hour. But once I understood the overall mechanics and the spawn rates, and where the chickens will roam after they spawn, I started averaging around 920 kills per hour, and I was averaging around 5.2k feathers per hour too. So this can be a pretty good method of making money. Or if you're an Ironman account, this is a pretty good way of raising your fletching, getting some combat XP in the process, and like training your cooking if you're collecting the raw chickens like I was, or getting a little bit of prayer XP on the side as you're trying to get feathers and raw chickens. Now, if you were wondering, I was actually using the raw chickens as a kill counter because I was like, if I use the graph system that they have in game, it was going to be kind of weird and I didn't really trust it because as I was standing here and training, I realized that goblins and imps randomly come into the gates or they come by close to the gates, and when I was using chain, it would actually kill the goblins and the imps nearby, and it would affect my XP, so I was like, that's not an accurate kill count number. So I was just grabbing the raw chickens for that specific purpose. What I didn't realize was the chickens actually were worth around 550 when I started this, and they ended up being around 600, which you'll see at the end of the video when I show me selling the chickens. And I was like pleasantly surprised at how much they were worth because I was like, these are chickens. They are a low-level cooking item, and for some reason they're so expensive, and I just couldn't understand, I couldn't figure out for the life of me why they were worth so much. So I did some basic digging, I looked up, perhaps it's used for summoning, which uses for a level 4 summoning skill, but that's so low that it's not worth it to keep using raw chickens. You may as well use something higher once you're at a higher level. And then I did a little bit more digging. Turns out they're used for some quests, but you don't need that many raw chickens, so for whatever reason, they're just worth a lot. And they don't heal for much, and they don't give you much cooking XP, so there's no reason for it, and I just can't understand why. So in the future selves, anyone who's watching this video, if you have an answer for this question, feel free to let me know, because I am completely stumped. Now let's talk about some of the mechanics I used to accomplish this task. First of all, I recommend you use magic because there's no cost to it. If you have an air staff, you can have free air ruins and infinite spells. Second, you only need to use two specific abilities: Chain, which requires level 45 magic, and Fire Breath, which requires level 5. Because both of these spells are considered AoE spells, and they can speed up your kill rate if you get a little bit lucky with RNG and hope that your abilities don't hit anything besides chickens. Now you can use range to kill these things because range also has a level 45 ability called Ricochet, which does the exact same thing as Chain, but it will cause you to lose some arrows or bolts depending on which one you use, and that can kind of affect how often you can kill something because you have to pick up the bolts as well as picking up other things like the feathers and the chickens, or if you're picking up the eggs, which actually sell more than chickens, but that's for another video, so I won't really get into that. Now I should mention that I did this slightly north of the training grounds in Lumbridge because there is a bank just south around 30 tiles or so, and you can just go back and forth and bank nonstop. This place also has 8 chickens, which is the most in any free-to-play area because the other areas do have 6 chickens or 5 chickens, but the other free-to-play areas are not in an enclosed area. So the chickens can roam more, and they're sometimes behind walls or other objects, which forces you to run more, and that slows down your kill rates. Now, if you notice while watching this video, I stand in 2 very specific areas, just 1 tile above the gate entrance. Now, the reason why I do this is because to the left of that spot, 3 chickens will spawn right there. And to the right, 4 chickens will spawn there, and slightly north of those 2 tiles, 1 chicken will spawn. But that chicken usually goes to the left, so your fire breath can either kill it or you can just chain it and it won't be much of an issue for clicking. Now another little thing that's absolutely necessary to have is having the loot interface window open pretty much the entire time that you are here. Because if you'll notice in the video, I don't move very often, but I'm pretty much grabbing every spawn or every drop within those 3 tiles because I'm not actually having to step 1 tile away to collect any loot unless I kill the chicken just outside the window. This can be extremely beneficial to you because while you're waiting for chickens to respawn, you can collect the bones and or raw chickens and bury them using your action bar while you're waiting. Another little thing you can do with the action bar is put the raw eggs if you don't plan on picking them up, so you can just insta drop them while you're either burying bones, killing chickens, or waiting for more respawn. Now another little thing that you need to understand about the loot interface is that it does not update right away after you get a kill. It usually takes 3 to 5 seconds depending on what's in your area because it's trying to calculate how much stuff can I fit in this 28 slots of the window and allow the player to collect what he or she wants. Now if you want to update it yourself manually, all you have to do is pick something up and then it will automatically update to whatever the current value of the highest value in your specific area. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of miscellaneous information about before I started this challenge, because I started around, I believe it was the 1st of June, and at the time of this recording, it was June 10th. And I did this over around 12 hours, split around all those days, because I didn't want to do this for more than an hour a day because it's just so annoying and it's so click intensive that my hands actually kind of started to hurt because, I'm just clicking all these tiny little objects and I had to zoom in my screen to make it easier for me. I had to increase my DPI on my mouse and it just became a nuisance. It was kind of worth it in the end because I got so many feathers and I sold all the chickens for money, but it still didn't feel completely worth it and I didn't really need the money nor did I need the feathers. Another little tidbit of information is I did not buy these because some people will probably speculate, oh, he obviously bought some because, this video only shows him in the last 200 raw chickens. So I'm going to show you what I was doing on my Grand Exchange for 3 alt accounts that I play actively. I don't play any other more than these 3. And you're going to see that I was pretty much just merching and selling the items from my other test videos, which you'll see in the very first one. You'll see at the bottom there was burnt bones, the sapphires, the arrow shafts, and I was also just selling and buying ruined ore boxes because they were worth quite a bit when I was making this video. And I needed something to essentially pass the time or do something in the background while I was killing these chickens. Now, if you want to do this yourself, feel free to do so. Find your empty world, use magic or range, whatever you prefer. Don't use melee because it's a garbage method, and go to town, especially for Ironman. They probably could use this more than anyone else. Anyways, guys, that's all from me. This has been your fellow RuneScaper, Moehawkman. Have a nice day, everyone. Peace out.